Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Faster Way Coach Confessionals. Lee, these are my favorite episodes to record. They are so fun.
They are really so fun. And I'm getting so much great feedback. So many people are so happy to be able to hear really our hearts based on all the knowledge and information out there. You know, we are human, normal people going through the same struggles that everyone else does every single day. So I enjoy this too. I won't call it therapy, but I will say I love it.
Yeah. So I am actually speaking to you from my office in Costa Rica. So hola, buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás?
Oh, buenos dias, Amanda. Very, very good. You're getting better. You're getting much more fluid.
Sí, estoy aprendiendo a hablar español un poco, no buenas todavía. Estoy practicando todos los días. Yep. So I'm practicing every day.
Yep, you're practicing.
I think I learned 2 new words every day. It's like, it's literally 2 words. 2 semanas. I'm not sure if that's even the right. Como se dice words? I don't know.
2 weeks.
Oh, that's weeks.
Dos semanas. Dos palabras.
Palabras.
Dos palabras.
Sí. Yeah. But I've been here 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. So it's like the first week I'm just rusty and trying to remember how to say hello and where's the bathroom. And then by the end of the 2 weeks, it's like I do dream a little bit in Spanish. So that's good.
That means you got to stay there longer.
I know.
But you have the vocabulary of JJ.
I know. I would stay here longer, but do you guys miss me?
It's bad. I mean, and I've said this before. I said this when you had the children. Without you here, it is more quiet. And it's just the sense of you're our mama.
I know.
You are the visionary behind it. So we absolutely do miss you.
Yeah.
Energy is different and we can't wait for you to come.
I miss you guys too. Yeah.
Getting a chance to go and be with you there, that was a whole new level of Amanda. And for those of you listening, if you don't know Amanda personally, you get as much of her as she can give in real life. But in Costa Rica, her life is like an auctioneer. She lives like an auctioneer. Everybody up, everybody up, everybody up. We're getting up, we're going faster. Give me 5 minutes, give me 2 minutes, give me now. 20 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, go faster. We're doing it.
Oh my
that
God.
was like living with you as an auction. It was like living with an auctioneer and it was fun.
That is so hilarious. Yeah. Well, I told you guys I was going to challenge you every 4 hours. At least every 4 hours, there was going to be a new challenge for you to face.
But when the challenge lasted 4 hours, I didn't unclench. I mean, Kelly said that she never has seen the color drain from my face for such a long period of time. I was on the cusp of crying and laughing. It was one of the most intense vacations. And I'll tell you, because you are so generous, you gave us a lot of time to not work. It got in my soul. So I got my Florida license plate, Amanda. It's been 4 years.
Oh my word.
It says Texas on my car. Listen, I got home on Sunday and I was like, if I can do the things that Amanda Trust pushed me to do, I can get a stinking license plate on my car.
Did it require you going to the DMV though? Because that is literally the most scary place in the world for me ever to go, the DMV.
So I went to the DMV. Listen, this is the worst part. I've had the dang thing for like 7 months. It's just been sitting on the passenger seat.
That's funny.
Just go, Lee, and get it on the back of your car.
Oh my gosh.
So, because the monkeys were chasing me and all the things, I was like, go to AutoZone. It'll take you 5 minutes.
That is so funny.
So anyway, the things that we put off are, a lot less daunting versus, flying through the sky.
But what I'm going to do is just summarize, just for everyone listening, I'm going to summarize some of the challenges and then we're going to balance that out with my favorite aspect of the trip, which we're going to then kind of flesh out and talk about today. So you guys landed, we had a beautiful dinner. It was a Costa Rican meal, very authentic. And then I was like, okay, tomorrow morning, we're waking up early. We're going to start some activities. And we just threw you guys right into the deep end. Didn't we do a hike, like a super intense hike that first morning?
Yes. Coming home, and this is what I call it. So the auctioneer, it was like Thanksgiving camp. So when we got there, you were waiting for us. You had this beautiful spread. The chefs cooked us we were like, oh, this is delightful. We were sleeping by 8:30 and waking up with the sunrise and hearing little creatures and critters that we'd never heard of. Then Amanda woke up. All right, guys, lace your shoes up. We're going on a hike. All right.
And I told you, I was like, it's challenging, but it's not that intense. And an hour later, I think the sentiment was different.
I work out for a living, and I think I just rolled down that hill at the end. I was like, and I'm just, again, confessing, it's intimidating to be around you, especially because you are a trainer, right? And I'm not a competitive person, but I've never seen little legs move so fast with so much power. And guess what? You're not even breathless. You're turn around, take a selfie. How's everybody? Okay, keep going. I'm like, I mean, it was really awesome.
Oh,
but that hike,
so
it was
funny.
1,400 steps.
Yeah, it was a lot of
700 up, and then you got to go back.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then and then I fed you all, so we ate.
Yes, thank you.
And then I threw you into a zip line and ropes course. Tell us a little bit about how that went for you, Lee.
Right now, I'm just sitting here. I'm wearing a turtleneck because it's cold here, but I need to take my whole dress off because I'm sweating just thinking about it. I don't want to do those things. I don't want to I ziplined 25 years ago. Great. Checking the block. I did parasailing. I did all these things prior to having kids. I was brave. And then I had children and I just wanted to go into a hole.
But you did it.
It was awful.
You did it.
I did it. And Kelly's got pictures. I just said, I want to see these pictures. She's like, this color was drained from your face.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I was crying. I was exhilarated. I was like, I said, I bungeed and
you literally jumped off a platform. You jumped off a platform.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I'm so proud
of it. Awesome. Would never have done it without you.
Yeah.
Never.
Aww. And then we had a nice meal. The next day,
yes.
We went on jet skis. Yeah. Which was a new experience.
But when the conversation starts like this, I'm going to work out. If you are too, everyone. Well, Amanda puts on her workout shoes. We're working out. When Amanda asks a question, that's it.
Yeah.
Do you want to work out? Yes, we want to work out. And then we're going to go get on jet skis. And a jet ski, that's enough of a challenge as it is. But when I can't see you in the horizon, but in my mind, come on, keep up. Well, I got to ride fast.
Yeah. Well, we went from our house to this really cool beach called Playa Huevos, which is Egg Beach. And we went into some caves. But when we got to Playa Huevos, you guys were like, we understand why your company's called Faster Way, because you have one single speed, one single pace. And it is, and in my brain, I wasn't even going that fast. Like I wasn't even trying to go that fast, but I think it probably was fairly quick. Maybe let's call it 60 miles an hour. I don't know.
Well, it's all relative. I mean, it's all relative. And again, I'm like, man, and I'm holding on and I'm sweating and I've got someone else, Chris, one of our other technicians was with us. And I was like, man, we're going. So then we get to the caves. Okay, well, now let's go to the claustrophobic field, right? So first, we're going to fly in the sky. Now we're going to go into a tunnel in which the waves are crashing and they're only going to come up. The tide's only coming in. And even the guys on the beach were like, you guys don't have that much time. And Amanda's like, okay, well, then we'll go in fast. And then when we come out fast, we're going to go to the top of a mountain that you only got 2 seconds to go up. And then you stood up there like a mama bear and you were like, do not come beyond this line because you will all fall and die.
So literally, for anyone listening, if you want to go to Costa Rica, which you should, just keep in mind, it is not Disney World and you're not signing a waiver. Okay, there's no waiver forms in Costa Rica. So I'm bringing you guys up this mountain. And at the top of the mountain, it's just a cliff. Okay, it's like if you use just a little bit of forward momentum, you're going straight down. You're falling straight off the cliff.
I'm like the giraffe on Madagascar, right? So my center of gravity is so wrong. And you're like, and you're standing there with your arms out like, Jesus. And you're like, don't cross. And I was like, if you're telling me not to, I
do not fall off this cliff. Yes. There might be times that I ask you to jump off a cliff with me. It is not right now. Not right now. Because I'm
not going to say no to anything.
So yeah, we had fun. And then, I just want to though bring up one of my favorite aspects of the entire trip and a way that we really bonded together as a team. So every morning we'd wake up before the sun rose and we'd go out and do some grounding and breath work. And I've been to Costa Rica for months out of the past, year, and I haven't done that before. But you and Mike Ritter, who's our production manager, really kind of opened my eyes to the benefits of grounding, which is to put your feet on the earth, on the ground, at the kind of sun's first light, and then to do this breath work. So I want to talk about it because it really was so amazing. You were introduced to this concept fairly recently as well. So when did you start doing this? And then we'll kind of talk about what we did in Costa Rica, why I'm still doing it today. I'll talk about actually yesterday and kind of what happened yesterday and why I'm so glad that I was doing grounding. So when were you introduced to this concept?
Well, I'm laughing because I guess somewhere in my mind, I'm a little bit of a cynic, and I don't want to do something that is gimmicky or fake or trending. Again, that's when I joined the Faster Way. I did it to prove it wrong. So when people are doing some of these practices that seem, air quote, woo woo, I don't even know what woo woo means. I'm just repeating it. I'm always a little bit suspect. And A, I don't have time to do it. And B, I don't really want to learn a new thing because I'm too busy working on something else. But last year broke me big time. So clearly there were some new things I needed to do. And I was able to be with my family, my biological family, my kid's dad, the four of us together. And in the mornings, he would go out and would stand on the earth, and he was doing this breath work. He's not like this either. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, just try this with me. And he said, just put your feet into the ground. He said, this is going to really center you for the day. It's going to create this sense of life in you. It's going to help you crave what's ahead of you for the day. And these are all articulations. I mean, this guy, he's a lot of fun. And articulate is not one of the words I would use to describe him, but even hearing him speak about this, I said, okay, let me try this. And I put my feet into the dirt and stood there and started to do these exaggerated breaths. Now, I have to use exaggerated breaths in my HIIT training, in my strength training, and I know that I need to exhale all the way because we do hyperventilate so much. And it's always like I could never really get my body to crave that inhale. And he said, you're going to do this 30 breaths, 3 sets. And I was like, I can't get through 5 because I start thinking about whatever I've got to do for the day. So I started to picture it as progressive overload. Like, okay, my goal is to get to 30 for 3 sets and in between what to do. So I started to do it on my own, got my new puppy, did it in the backyard with him. And I went to Costa Rica with you. And I said, people are going to think I'm out of my mind. So I woke up, and Amanda has a compound. So each building is separate. So for me to go to the kitchen to get my coffee, I have to leave my building and go to a different building. So I kept looking for a place where the ground was, but it was dark. And every time I would turn a corner, an automatic light would come on. And I was like, I kept getting busted like a burglar. And so between me and the monkeys trying to find a dark space, right? So I found a space on the side of the cliff. And I was like, it's so dark. The light's not on. If I roll down, I've got a loud voice. It's fine. And I started to go through this right then and was like, man, this is a little bit of an upper level because I had gotten better at holding these breaths and exhaling and doing these things. And so that morning, Kelly and Leanne came. They were like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm doing this. So they did it with Hayden. Then the next morning you come out. It was by our 3rd morning there. And Mike is such a talented expert in so many different things. I said, Mike, will you take us through your version of some breath work? And he said, do y'all want to lay down? And I'm like, no, because I'm going to do it my way. And he was like, you're probably going to pass out. And I'm like, well, now I have a dare. And Mike took us through this breath work and and one more thing, during COVID, it was you, me, Kelly, Haven, and Mike.
Yeah.
We have a group text called QT4. We were essential workers. Nobody else was in our office. And for 3 months, I feel like we became so close. And that was a few years ago. And for us to be out there with this synergy that we have as, leaders in the Faster Way and just such a passion for our clients, it felt so supernatural. It felt so Jesus was there.
Yeah.
It felt so powerful. It was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about why this works. And I'm just going to admit to not being an expert in any way, but let me share a little story and then we'll share a few points of science.
Mm-hmm.
My kids have been healthy for the entire past month until we landed in Costa Rica. Tai got a fever a couple days in, starts getting super congested. Then JJ gets it, our nanny here, Brandon. Yesterday, after multiple days of doing this grounding and breath work, I, out of nowhere, get hit with a fever. I mean, it hit me like a Mack truck. And it's like when you got that fever and you're just so achy, you could barely walk. And
it hurts to touch your skin.
It literally does. Yeah, your skin is sensitive. I mean, I was miserable. I'm just shaking. I'm under my covers of my bed, just shaking. But Lily also got the fever at the same time. And so in the afternoon, I was like, okay, let me get out of bed and let's just sit on the ground and just relax on the ground, try to bring the fever down. I tell you what, I allowed the fever to do its work. I also fasted for most of the day, but I did start to feel renewed and energized with the sun shining on us, sitting on the ground. And by the evening, I was feeling great. This morning, I felt just about 100% did my grounding. Now, maybe I'll have just a little bit of, a cold or whatever the case may be. But I texted you and Mike and I was like, what is up with this grounding and breathwork? I was like, I thought I was going to have a major flu or a major virus. And we did some research and you guys already knew this, but it does help with the immune system as well. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe it.
There's science right now that supports that with actually looking at people's blood right after they do this. And again, I'm not going to pretend to be a scientist either. And, my ex-husband, my kid's dad who introduced this to me is an electrical engineer by trade. And so his background probably helped kind of support this nature. And I wonder too, and I didn't tell you this, but now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if that sickness came as you were detoxifying when you were there. I wonder, when you get a massage and you feel like you have a fever, you get all that lymphatic, stuff pushed out of your lymph nodes and everything.
Right.
But I wonder if, because you started grounding last week, if that got these toxins out and then you were able to kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah.
Because you do move so fast and because all those things, these healing properties are true. And again, I'm laughing because our food comes from the ground and has a mother, right? That is a tagline for Faster Way. For us to get into that ground, feel that sunlight and connect with electricity. I mean, I get IPLs. I get electric light shined on my face and pay a lot of money to get zapped in the face to look younger, right? This is the same kind of electric stuff. I hear about these grounding mats and all this stuff. To me, I'm like, the gimmick. But because we have a chance to be in the ocean here in Florida, put our feet in the sand, it's a different type of soil where you are. And I think that kind of moving around the world and going into different places is pretty critical and powerful. So it doesn't surprise me that you guys might have healed from having a chance to be that close to the earth.
So what does the breath work do for us? Because I know when I was out there with you and Mike, I immediately said, oh my gosh, I can breathe again. Like I've had sinus issues for years and, very, very often feel like I'm not fully able to breathe through my nose, where doing these exaggerated breaths in and out where that it just like almost immediately as I was also grounding, cleared up my sinuses, helped me breathe better. But share a little bit about the science of that.
Yeah. So there's definitely a synergy here. So breathwork alone is great. Grounding alone is great. But I think that our expertise in physiology as fitness professionals is able to put both of those things together. And so when you're inhaling as hard and fast as you can, you send this rush of oxygen into your body to do what? To expel the toxic, right? To expel the carbon dioxide, to clear your sinuses when you're breathing in real sharp. It's obnoxious. My neighbors are probably like, what is the woman? Get a machine. But when you take these sharp inhalations and these massive exhalations, your body starts to crave some new fresh air. And so again, what's the magic behind 30 reps and 30 or 3 sets of 30 reps? I'm not sure. But what I started to do this week, because there's more, right? When I got to that 30th breath, because I finally made it, that box breathing, when you hold it as long as you can, that's number one. My body was almost kind of doing this figure 8 kind of wave when I got that big last breath in, and I wanted to get all the air out, but you and I were talking about really pushing it out. So I closed my mouth like a little bitty hole in a balloon and let the air come out as slowly as possible. I felt like I was suffocating, right? Because it took a long time for all the air to come out. All I wanted to do was take a deep breath in. So I started to think about the birds and the sirens outside and all these different things to distract me. Got to that final exhale, and what you had said was just push it out. And so when you push it out, what happens? Your body craves another breath. And again, I have to do this when I'm lifting heavy. I have to do this with HIIT. And I'm excited to see how my progress is going to be moving forward. And that oxidation too, your muscles are craving oxygen. Your digestive system kind of gets kicked into gear. These neurotoxins get out of your head, and the clarity of just a celebration of life and being able to really breathe kind of turned into a magical combination for me.
Yeah. So what I do is super similar, and it's what you guys taught me. I do the 3 sets of 10 reps, breathing in super sharp, breathing out. And then I will breathe in just like a big breath, and I pause. I breathe out for as many seconds as I can. To be clear, if you guys are listening and you try this, where you wake up with the sunrise, you put your feet in the earth, you do your 30 breaths in. To be clear, I do get very lightheaded, especially when I first started this. Even I was telling you yesterday, since I was feeling more run down in the early morning, I didn't do it because it does take energy. You are sweating bullets when you do it. I don't sweat when I'm doing it. Yeah.
Dripping sweat.
Yeah. Yeah. You were dripping sweat.
But then also emotional too.
Yeah.
I could cry like this, like a lump in my throat, like what? And Haven said that she was seeing kind of kaleidoscopy things when her eyes were closed too.
Yeah. I, this morning especially, was just, praying and so grateful, and just, rush of positive emotion for me this morning. But yeah, I'm not a woo-woo person. You're not a woo-woo person. And this is definitely, it's about just, maybe adding a new practice consistently that will help our overall mental health and wellness, our physical health and wellness. And I can't wait to just dive more into the research, because again, I'm not an expert. It's just something that we're trying. And I saw you say it on Instagram. It's like, you're like, even if it's a placebo effect, I don't care, because it's awesome. Like, I don't even care if it's a placebo effect. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, it has, like, I woke up this morning at 4:45 a.m. I got showered, went out 5:45, watched the sunrise, went onto the earth, did my breathing. It just set my day up for so much success. I got a video, I'll send it to you, of JJ and Lily next to me watching the sunrise. They came down, everybody came down and was, standing on the earth too. And I said to our babysitter, I was like, it makes so much sense to be appreciative of the creation that God has given to us. And it's really cool when the sun rises and all the birds start coming out. It's like the sun's rising, the birds are flying, all the nature just starts waking up, and you're just like in it. And we have people up north in like Kentucky and Ohio listening to us. and thinking like, you people are crazy. Like, what would you say? Because you still got out this morning and it was chilly, right?
I got out. Yeah, it was chilly. Well, by the time I'm done, I'm sweating. So I was all bundled up. I was completely layered up. And, the anti-inflammatory parts of this, like the reduction in my inflammation in my mind, my heart, and my muscles is very similar to a cold plunge, which you also made me do.
Yeah, I did.
In Costa Rica.
I forgot about that.
So, and so when I started this, I was out there for 5 minutes. This is one of those things where, when people say, I don't have enough time to work out, I'm just going to blow it off. If you only have time for a set of bicep curls, get them in. If I've only got time for 3 breaths, I'm going to do it. It's a reset button that I've never allowed myself to take the time to do. And I've noticed a difference. And, for your kids to see you do that first, if your first light is from the sky and not from your phone, that is setting our next generation up for a place of less depression, for a place of less inflammation, for a place of gratitude for the things that this middle generation hasn't had. Because again, our moms were so busy trying to be the entrepreneur at the same time the mother of the year. And then we're trying to balance out this sandwich and, protecting our kids and trying to stay ahead of what they're getting their hands on in regards to social media and everything. But for your kids to be able to see this powerhouse of a woman go, you know what? I'm going to stop first and I'm going to make this happen. And again, if you miss it, that doesn't mean you can't do it at night. What if that's another new nighttime ritual? I heard, we talked about sleep before. I've been hearing a great benefits for sleep practices as well come from this. So again, whether it's placebo or not, I'm feeling better than I ever have. And I feel stronger. I feel recovered. My body is less sore. These are the kinds of things that you don't realize are happening when you're in it until you step away and those things go away.
Yeah. Yeah. We are going to dive more into the research, I'm sure, this year. I'm just going to read a couple of things because we were kind of sending podcasts and different articles back and forth. But what the science says, grounding is currently an under-researched topic, and there are only a few scientific studies on the benefits. However, the most recent scientific research has explored grounding for inflammation, cardiovascular disease, muscle damage, chronic pain, and mood. And so I'll just read a couple more things. The central theory from one study is that grounding affects the living matrix. Electrical conductivity exists within the matrix that function as an immune system defense, similar to antioxidants. They believe through grounding, the natural defenses of the body can be restored. Further research expands on this idea. Mike sent us some research regarding how this can help even with injuries, which for me was very intriguing.
Injuries, which was
literally, wound injuries. Yeah. It says most of the studies on grounding are small, but there's definitely an increase. And, when I go to different wellness events, there are sponsors, and many of the sponsors are now red light therapy and grounding mats and all this. So it is becoming more popular and more well known, but I don't need no grounding mat. I could just walk outside on the dirt at my house.
I'm saying, right. So, again, my favorite part about intermittent fasting is it's free. My favorite part about grounding is it's free. And none of these things are requiring a pharmaceutical company to come in and sell us something. So with those grounding mats and all that stuff, again, if you can afford it, great. But I'm real happy with the dirt under my feet.
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you have a grounding mat company, you can send me one for free. I will try it. However,
sure, I'll take one too. I'll take one too.
You can send it. You can send it.
In case I happen to be in a skyscraper for
any red light therapy people listening, feel free to send something to the other. It's fine.
One box sauna. I'm fine.
Totally cool. But okay, well, this is so cool. I think we started the conversation for our community, for people who are curious to try something that might help with inflammation, with chronic pain, with mood. Yeah. And again, that first light is so important. Sun is free as well. Sunlight is free.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to be back in the office to see you guys soon. It's going to be.
I can't wait either. So our next team day is going to be toes in the sand.
Yeah. Good idea. Good idea. Yes.
All right, Amanda. Have an awesome day. I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.